Daniel Rivers's fist connected with the mahogany desk hard enough to split his knuckles open. Blood dripped onto the contract worth $128,000, the job posting that had haunted him for 6 months. Across from him sat Victoria Chen, the billionaire recluse, whose daughter had died 2 years ago in one of her own company's autonomous vehicles. Her face was stone. His was rage. "You're destroying lives," he said, his voice raw. "Just like you destroyed your own." Victoria's hand moved toward the panic button. Harrison, the estate manager, stepped between them. What happened next would either save 3 broken people or shatter them beyond repair. But to understand how a single father and a grief-frozen tech titan ended up here, we need to go back 6 months. To the night Daniel saw that job posting. To the moment he decided to take the position nobody in America wanted. Comment below what city you're watching from. Let's see how far this story travels. The eviction notice was taped to Daniel Rivers's apartment door when he got home at 2 a.m. Red letters, 72 hours. He stood in the hallway of the Portland complex, still wearing his McDonald's uniform under his security guard jacket, and felt something inside him finally crack. "Daddy." Maya was standing in the doorway, 9 years old, strawberry blonde hair tangled from sleep. She hadn't called him Daddy in 8 months. Not since Elena died. "Go back to bed, sweetheart," Daniel said. His voice came out wrong, too tight, too close to breaking. "I heard you come in." Maya's eyes were older than they should be. Kids who watch their mothers die of cancer grow up fast. "Are we moving again?" "No." Daniel peeled the notice off the door. "No, baby. I'm going to fix this." He didn't know how. His architect's license had lapsed. He couldn't focus long enough to renew it after Elena's death. The 3 part-time jobs barely covered Maya's therapy appointments. Medical debt collectors called 6 times a day. His phone had more block numbers than contacts. Inside the apartment, Maya went straight to her corner. The drawing corner, as they called it. She'd covered an entire wall with sketches, obsessive detailed, hundreds of them. Landscapes without people. Buildings without doors. Her therapist said it was normal. Her teacher said it was concerning. Daniel just knew his daughter hadn't spoken in school since 2nd grade started. He made Maya warm milk their ritual and watched her draw. She was sketching a tower. Tall glass, no windows. "That's pretty," Daniel said. Maya wrote on her drawing pad, "It's lonely." Daniel's phone buzzed. Another debt collector. He declined it and opened his laptop, scrolling through job postings he'd already applied to 50 times. Warehouse work, delivery driver, night janitor, all rejected. Overqualified, they said, which meant unreliable, which meant damaged goods. Then he saw it. The posting had been up for 183 days. He knew because he'd seen it before and dismissed it as a scam. Private estate manager, $120K. Year overnight shifts, discretion required, no questions policy, must start immediately, Portland, Oregon area. Daniel clicked. The description was sparse. Maintain household routines, flexible duties, live-in option available. Contact Harrison Webb for confidential interview. A phone number, no company name, no address. Daniel looked at the eviction notice. At Maya's tower with no windows. At the stack of Elena's medical bills on the counter, $340,000 reduced to $200,000, still impossible. He called. The phone rang once. Harrison Webb. The voice was older, refined, British accent underneath American polish. "I'm calling about the estate manager position," Daniel said. "My name is Daniel Rivers. Are you currently employed, Mr. Rivers?" "I work 3 jobs." "Are you married?" Daniel's throat closed. "Widowed. I have a daughter, 9 years old." Silence on the line, long enough that Daniel thought the call had dropped. "Mr. Rivers, I'm going to ask you an unusual question. Please answer honestly." "Okay." "Do you understand what it means to live with grief?" Daniel looked at Maya. She was drawing rain over her lonely tower. "Yes," he said. "I understand. Can you start tomorrow night?" "I what? Don't you need to interview me?" "I just did," Harrison said. "The address is 1847 Cascade Heights Drive. Come at 9 p.m. Come alone. If you have childcare issues, we'll discuss accommodations." "Wait, I don't even know what—" "Mr. Rivers." Harrison's voice softened. "Do you need this job? The eviction notice, the medical bills, Maya's therapy that insurance wouldn't cover, the apartment with heat that barely worked." "Yes," Daniel said. "Then trust me. Come tomorrow, 9 p.m. Wear something clean but not formal. And Mr. Rivers—" "Yes." "Whatever you think you know about Victoria Chen, forget it. The person you'll meet tomorrow night isn't the woman you've read about. She's what's left." The line went dead. Daniel called in sick to all 3 jobs the next day. He spent the morning researching Victoria Chen while Maya was at school. Victoria Chen, 52 years old. Founder and former CEO of Sentinel AI, the cybersecurity company that went from startup to $8 billion valuation in 7 years. Forbes called her the Fortress, untouchable, brilliant, ruthless. She'd built autonomous security systems that protected everything from banks to military installations. Then, 2 years ago, her daughter, Lily, aged 10, died testing one of Sentinel AI's autonomous vehicles. The car crashed on a private test track. Cause listed as system malfunction under investigation. Victoria disappeared from public life immediately. The company's board continued operations, stock prices held. But Victoria Chen herself, radio silence. No interviews, no statements, no public appearances. The last photo of her was from Lily's funeral. Victoria in blackface, hidden behind sunglasses, and a hat being escorted by an older man, Harrison Webb, according to the caption. Former British military long-time employee. Daniel found conspiracy theories. Some said Victoria had a breakdown. Others said she was in hiding. One Reddit thread claimed she'd moved to Europe. Another said she'd died, and the company was covering it up. Nobody seemed to know she was still in Portland. At 8:45 p.m., Daniel dropped Maya at their neighbor Mrs. Park's apartment, a Korean grandmother, who watched her sometimes. "I'll be back by 7 tomorrow morning," Daniel said. "Maybe earlier." Mrs. Park studied his face. "New job. Interview, kind of. You look scared." "I'm terrified." Mrs. Park squeezed his hand. "Good. Fear means it matters to—" Cascade Heights Drive didn't exist on Google Maps. Daniel's GPS gave up a mile from the address. He followed Harrison's texted directions private road off the Columbia River Highway, past 3 unmarked turnoffs, through a gate that opened automatically when his car approached. The estate materialized through Portland's October fog like something from a different world. Glass, steel, impossible angles. The main house was ultra-modern architecture that seemed to float above the Columbia River Gorge. 3 stories of floor-to-ceiling windows currently dark except for a single light on the 2nd floor. The grounds sprawled across what had to be 40 acres. He could see walking paths, a greenhouse complex, what looked like a separate guest house. This wasn't just wealth. This was isolation disguised as luxury. Daniel parked in the circular driveway. His 12-year-old Honda Civic looked like a toy next to the entrance. The front door opened before he could knock. Harrison Webb was exactly what Daniel expected, and nothing like it. 70, maybe older, formal posture, gray suit, perfectly trimmed white hair. But his eyes were kind. Sad, but kind. Mr. Rivers. Punctual. Good. Harrison extended his hand. His grip was firm. "Come in. Ms. Chen is expecting you." The interior was minimalist to the point of sterile. White walls. Concrete floors. Modern art that probably cost more than Daniel's lifetime earnings. But everything felt unused. Unlived in. like a museum after hours. Ms. Chen prefers evening meetings, Harrison said as they walked. She keeps unusual hours. You'll find the household routine is specific. What exactly would I be managing? Ms. Chen's routine. Nothing more, nothing less. That's not an answer. Harrison stopped walking, turned to face Daniel directly. Mr. Rivers, do you know why this position has been posted for 6 months with no applicants? Because it sounds insane. Because everyone who interviews wants to know why. Why does a billionaire need a night manager? Why these specific duties? Why so much money for what seems like simple work? Harrison's expression was unreadable. You're the first person who simply said yes when asked if you needed the job. That's the only qualification Ms. Chen cares about. Need. Desperation, if we're being honest. Because desperate people don't ask questions. They just show up. That's pretty cynical. No, Mr. Rivers, it's realistic. Now are you ready? Daniel thought about the eviction notice. About Maya's wall of lonely drawings. About Elena's last words to him. Take care of our girl? Don't stop living. I'm ready. Harrison led him through corridors that felt more like hospital wings than a home. No photos on the walls, no personal touches, just expensive emptiness. They stopped at a door. Harrison knocked twice. Come in. The voice from inside was female quiet, almost electronic in its lack of inflection. Harrison opened the door. The room was an office. Massive desk, multiple monitors, ergonomic chair. And sitting in that chair, backlit by the blue glow of screens, was Victoria Chen. Daniel's first thought, the photos didn't prepare him. She wasn't the polished Forbes cover woman. Her hair silver-streaked black was pulled back severely. No makeup. She wore a black turtleneck and jeans. But it was her eyes that stopped Daniel cold. Empty. Completely empty. Like someone had scooped out everything human and left just the shell. Mr. Rivers, Victoria said. She didn't stand. Didn't offer her hand. Sit. Daniel sat in the chair across from her desk. Victoria studied him for a full minute without speaking. Daniel forced himself not to fidget. Harrison says you're widowed, Victoria finally said. Yes. How long? 10 months. Cancer, pancreatic. 6 months from diagnosis to... Daniel couldn't finish. Victoria nodded once. My daughter died 2 years ago. She was 10. Do you know the details? I read about the accident. It wasn't an accident. Victoria's voice didn't change. Still flat. Still empty. Someone hacked the vehicle's system, remotely overrode the controls, sent her into a wall at 70 miles per hour. The investigation is still ongoing. That means they have no idea who did it. Daniel didn't know what to say. Do you blame yourself for your wife's death? Victoria asked. The question hit like a fist. What? It's a simple question. Do you blame yourself? That's not... I blame myself for Lily's death every second of every day, Victoria said. I built the technology. I rushed the testing schedule. I let her be in that car. So now I live with it. The question is whether you understand that level of responsibility, that level of guilt. Daniel felt his anger rising. My wife got cancer. I didn't cause it. But you worked late, missed appointments, were too tired to notice symptoms until it was too late. Victoria's eyes finally showed something recognition. Don't lie. I can see it in your face. You carry it the same way I do. Daniel stood up. I don't need this job that badly. Yes, you do. Sit down. Excuse me. Your daughter is named Maya. She's 9. She hasn't spoken in 8 months. You're 3 months behind on rent. You have $200,000 in medical debt. Your architect's license lapsed because you couldn't pass the renewal exam. Grief makes concentration impossible. You work at McDonald's, a security company, and you stock shelves at Target overnight. Victoria's expression didn't change. You need this job more than you've ever needed anything in your life, so sit down. Daniel sat. His hands were shaking. How do you know all that? I'm a cybersecurity expert, Mr. Rivers. I know everything about everyone I consider employing." Victoria leaned forward slightly. "Your wife Elena was an elementary school teacher. She loved gardening. You met her when you were designing her school's renovation. She was the one who encouraged you to start your own firm. When she got sick, you bankrupted yourself trying experimental treatments that insurance wouldn't cover. You sold your wedding rings to pay for her last month in hospice. Maya was with her when she died because Elena insisted she wanted to say goodbye properly." Tears were running down Daniel's face. He couldn't stop them. "I also know," Victoria continued, "that you're a good father. Maya's therapist notes, which I should not have access to, but do say you're remarkably patient and present despite obvious personal struggles. Your McDonald's manager says you're the most reliable employee they've had in 5 years. The security company wants to promote you, but you keep refusing because it would conflict with your other jobs. You're drowning, Mr. Rivers. But you're still swimming. That's what I need." "Why?" Daniel's voice cracked. "Why would you need that?" "Because I'm drowning too, and I've stopped swimming. I need someone who remembers how." Silence filled the room. Harrison cleared his throat from the doorway. "Perhaps, ma'am, you could explain the actual position." Victoria stood for the first time. She moved to the window, looking out at the black expanse of the gorge. "I don't sleep," she said. "Haven't truly slept in 2 years. I work overnight. I follow a specific routine. I need someone to maintain the household while I do that, to ensure the routine doesn't break." "What routine?" Daniel asked. "Harrison will show you. It's the same 4 locations every night. Same timing. Never varies." "And you need someone to, what? Drive you?" "No. Accompany me. Be present. Ask no questions. That's the job." Daniel wiped his face. "That's not a $120,000 job." "It is if the questions you don't ask are worth that much." Victoria turned to face him. "I don't need a driver. I don't need a manager. I need a witness. Someone who sees what I'm doing and doesn't try to stop me. Everyone else, Harrison, my doctors, my lawyers, they all want me to heal. They want me to move on. They want me to be the woman I was before Lily died." She paused. "That woman doesn't exist anymore. Can you accept that?" Daniel thought about the nights he'd stood in Maya's doorway watching her sleep, wondering if he'd ever feel whole again. The mornings he'd put on his uniform and smiled for customers when he wanted to scream. The therapist who kept telling him to process his grief when all he wanted was his wife back. "Yes," Daniel said. "I can accept that." Victoria nodded. "You'll work 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. 5 nights a week. I'll provide a guest house for you and your daughter. It has 3 bedrooms, full kitchen, better than whatever you're living in now. Maya can enroll in Cascade Prep Private School on the property I funded for local families. Harrison will handle the details. You start tomorrow night." "I haven't said yes." "But you will, because you need to. Because your daughter needs stability. Because you're barely surviving." Victoria moved back to her desk. "And because somewhere in your grief, you recognize mine. We're the same, Mr. Rivers. We just perform it differently." Daniel stood. His legs felt unsteady. "If I do this, if I take this job, I have one condition." Victoria raised an eyebrow. "You're negotiating." "My daughter comes first. Always. If she needs me, if there's an emergency, I don't care what your routine is. I leave." Victoria studied him. For the first time, something that might have been respect crossed her face. "Agreed. Anything else?" "Yeah." Daniel met her empty eyes. "If I'm going to be your witness, then you're going to be mine. Whatever you're doing with this routine, whatever you're trying to accomplish, I'll watch. I won't judge. But you don't get to pretend I'm not there. Deal?" Victoria extended her hand. Her skin was cold. "Deal." Harrison walked Daniel back to his car. The fog had thickened, turning the estate into something from a dream. "She's not usually that forthcoming," Harrison said. Most interviews last 5 minutes. She reads the dossier, decides, dismisses them. You got 37 minutes. Is she always like that? So, empty. Yes, for 2 years now. Harrison's voice was heavy. I've worked for the Chen family since Lily was born. Watched that little girl grow up brilliant and kind. Watched Victoria build an empire. While being a present, loving mother, she worked from home most days just to be there. When Lily died, something in Victoria didn't just break. It calcified, turned to stone. And you think I can help her? No, Mr. Rivers, I think you need each other. She needs someone who won't demand she be fixed. You need someone who understands that survival isn't the same as living. Harrison handed Daniel a keycard. Guest House B. Move in tomorrow. I'll have it stocked and ready. Daniel got in his car, started the engine. Harrison knocked on the window. Mr. Rivers, one more thing. Yeah. The routine she follows, the 4 locations, they're not random. And they're not healing. They're penance. She's punishing herself, every single night. Harrison's eyes were wet. If you're going to be her witness, you should know what you're witnessing. It's not recovery. It's a woman trying to pay a debt she thinks can never be settled. What's the debt? Being alive when her daughter isn't. Harrison stepped back. Daniel drove through the fog toward his apartment, where an eviction notice waited, where his daughter was drawing lonely towers, where nothing made sense anymore. He'd just taken a job babysitting a billionaire's grief, and somehow he knew it would change everything. Daniel told Maya they were moving while she ate breakfast the next morning. She looked up from her cereal, studying his face, the way she did now, reading every micro-expression for signs of more loss. Where? She asked. Her voice was so quiet, he almost missed it. A big house, with a school attached, and your own bedroom with windows that overlook a river. Maya's pencil was already moving across her notebook. She drew quickly, then showed him a girl standing in a window looking out at water. Is it far from Mom's grave? She asked. Daniel's chest tightened. They visited Elena's grave every Sunday, rain or shine. Maya would sit cross-legged on the grass and draw while Daniel talked to a headstone. 30 minutes, he said. We can still go every week, I promise. Maya nodded once. Then, will I have to talk there? Only when you want to. She went back to her cereal. Daniel watched her thin shoulders, the way she held herself so carefully, like she might shatter if she moved wrong. His daughter was disappearing into herself. He could see it happening and couldn't stop it. His phone buzzed. Text from Harrison: guest house ready. Come when ready. No rush. H. They packed everything they owned in 4 hours. It fit in Daniel's car trunk and back seat. Clothes, Maya's art supplies. Elena's recipe box that Daniel couldn't throw away, the quilt Elena's mother had made them. Everything else, the Salvation Army furniture, the dishes from Target, the life they'd built before cancer, stayed behind. Mrs. Park cried when they left. She pressed a container of kimchi into Daniel's hands and whispered, "Take care of that baby. She's got her mama's soul." The drive to Cascade Heights felt like crossing into another country. Maya was silent in the passenger seat, drawing in her notebook. Daniel glanced over once and saw she'd sketched their old apartment building, but she'd added wings to it, like it was flying away. Harrison was waiting when they arrived. He'd changed from his formal suit into khakis and a cardigan. He looked almost grandfatherly, except for the military posture and the watchful eyes. "Miss Maya," Harrison said, offering his hand. "I'm Harrison. I manage the estate. Your father and I will be working together." Maya stared at his hand. Didn't take it. "She doesn't really," Daniel started. "I understand," Harrison said smoothly. He lowered his hand. "Miss Maya, do you like hot chocolate?" Maya looked at Daniel. He nodded. She wrote in her notebook, "With marshmallows. Is there any other kind?" Harrison's smile was genuine. "Come, let me show you your new home." The guest house was 3 times the size of their apartment. 2 stories, stone and glass tucked into the trees at the edge of the property. Inside was furnished like a catalog, cream-colored sofas, a kitchen with appliances that looked like spaceships, bedrooms with beds so high Maya would need a step stool. "This is too much," Daniel said. "Ms. Chen's instructions were specific, comfortable, private, and appropriate for a child." Harrison opened the refrigerator. It was fully stocked. "I took the liberty of ordering basics. There's a tablet on the counter. You can use it to request anything you need. Groceries, supplies, whatever. It's all included in your compensation package." Maya had wandered to the windows. She pressed her hand against the glass, looking out at the Columbia River. In the distance, Portland's lights were just starting to flicker on as dusk approached. "There's something else," Harrison said quietly to Daniel. "Second floor, the room at the end of the hall." Daniel climbed the stairs. The room at the end was set up as an art studio. Professional easels, a drafting table, every type of paint and pencil and paper imaginable. On the table was a note in precise handwriting, "For Maya. Children shouldn't have to ration their creativity. VC." Daniel's throat closed up. Harrison appeared behind him. "Ms. Chen had it delivered this afternoon. She remembered you mentioning your daughter liked to draw. This must have cost thousands. Ms. Chen has billions. She spends them on nothing. Let her spend them on this." Harrison paused. "You start at 10 p.m. I'll stay with Maya until you finish at 6. She'll be perfectly safe." "You don't have to." "Mr. Rivers, I'm 70 years old. I sleep 4 hours a night. I've been alone in this house with Ms. Chen's grief for 2 years. Having a child here again." Harrison's voice cracked slightly. "It would be my honor." Maya's footsteps on the stairs. She appeared in the doorway, saw the art studio and stopped. Her eyes went wide. She looked at Daniel, then at Harrison, then back at the room. "It's yours," Daniel said. "All of it." Maya walked in slowly, touching the easel like it might disappear. She picked up a set of watercolors, professional grade, the kind Elena used to point out in stores they couldn't afford to shop in. She turned to Harrison and did something Daniel hadn't seen in 8 months. She smiled. Small, tentative, but real. Then she wrote in her notebook and showed Harrison. "Thank you." "Thank Ms. Chen," Harrison said, "and use it well. She doesn't give gifts lightly." At 9:45 p.m., Daniel kissed Maya goodnight. She was already painting at the easel, Harrison sitting in a chair nearby with a book. The scene looked so normal it made Daniel's chest ache. "Be good for Harrison," Daniel said. Maya nodded without looking up. She was painting a house with golden windows. Daniel walked across the grounds to the main house. The fog was rolling in again, thick and cold. His breath misted in front of him. Somewhere in the distance he heard the Columbia River moving in the dark. Victoria was waiting in the foyer. She'd changed into black pants and a black jacket. All business. Her hair was pulled back so tightly it looked painful. "Punctual," she said. "Good. We leave in 5 minutes." "Where are we going?" "I told you. 4 locations. Same every night." Victoria pulled out her phone, checked something, then pocketed it. "We'll take my car. You'll drive." The car was a Tesla Model S. Black, spotless, and so silent when Daniel started it that he wasn't sure it was on. "Where first?" he asked. Victoria handed him a tablet, 4 addresses programmed in. The first was only 10 minutes away. They drove in silence. Daniel kept glancing in the rearview mirror. Victoria sat in the back staring out the window. Her reflection looked like a ghost. The first address was an office building in downtown Portland. Sentinel AI headquarters. Even at 10 p.m. some lights were on. "Park here," Victoria said. They were across the street. She made no move to get out. Daniel waited. 5 minutes passed. 10, 15. "Are we going in?" he finally asked. "No, we're watching." "Watching what?" "The company I built. The people I abandoned." Victoria's voice was flat. "I used to work 100 hours a week. Board meetings, investor calls, product development. Lily would come to the office after school. She'd do homework in my office while I worked. She never complained. She just wanted to be near me." Daniel said nothing. Now, I can't go inside, Victoria continued. I sit here every night and watch other people run what I created. My CFO Marcus Thorne, that's his car in the executive spot. He's probably working late, planning the next quarter, making decisions I used to make. Do you want to go back? No, yes, I don't know. Victoria closed her eyes. 30 minutes, that's all I allow myself. Then we move on. They sat in silence. Daniel watched people come and go from the building. Young tech workers, security guards, a cleaning crew. Normal people with normal lives. He wondered if any of them knew their founder was sitting across the street every night watching them like a ghost haunting her own life. At exactly 30 minutes, Victoria said, "Next location." The second address was a storage facility on the outskirts of Portland, the kind with orange roll-up doors and combination locks. Victoria had a key card. They parked in front of Unit 247. "I need to go in alone," Victoria said. "Wait here." She disappeared inside. Daniel sat in the running car, listening to the silence. 20 minutes passed. When Victoria emerged, her eyes were red but dry. She got back in the car without speaking. "What's in there?" Daniel asked before he could stop himself. Victoria's jaw tightened. "That's a question." "Sorry." "Lily's things. Everything from her room. Her clothes, her books, her computer. The stuffed animals she pretended she was too old for, but still slept with. I packed it all 2 months after she died because I couldn't look at it anymore. But I can't throw it away either. So I sit with it. 30 minutes, every night." Daniel started driving to the third location without being told. "Your daughter draws," Victoria said. "What does she draw?" "Empty places mostly. Buildings, landscapes. Never people." Lily coded. "Did you know that she started when she was 6? By 10 she could write programs that would take my engineers weeks to create." Victoria's voice was distant. "She designed the safety protocols for the autonomous vehicles, insisted on redundancy systems, fail-safes, manual override options. She was more cautious than any of us." "Then how did—" "Someone bypassed all of it, remotely, during a closed test. Only 5 people knew that test was happening that day." Victoria's hands clenched in her lap. "Which means someone I trusted killed my daughter." The third location was Portland's Riverview Cemetery. Victoria directed him to a specific section. They parked on the access road. Lily Chen's grave was small, simple headstone. Fresh flowers, Harrison must bring them regularly. Victoria got out of the car this time. Daniel watched as she stood at the grave, arms wrapped around herself. She didn't kneel, didn't pray. Just stood there rigid, like she was forcing herself to witness something unbearable. Daniel's phone buzzed. Text from Harrison: "Maya's asleep. Painted for 2 hours straight. She's talented. H." Daniel looked at Victoria standing at her daughter's grave and thought about Maya safely asleep in a real bed for the first time in months. The contrast felt obscene. 30 minutes exactly. Victoria returned to the car. Her face was stone. "Last location," she said. The fourth address was a house in Portland Heights. Large traditional lights on inside, a family home. Through the windows, Daniel could see people moving around. Normal evening activities. "Whose house is this?" Daniel asked. "Mine, or it was." Victoria stared at the house like it might bite her. "I haven't lived there since Lily died. Couldn't. I sold it 6 months ago. This family bought it. They have 3 kids. I come here to see what my life should have looked like." They sat in silence. Daniel watched a mother inside move through the kitchen. She was laughing at something. A teenage boy grabbed something from the counter and ran. Normal. Domestic. Alive. "Does watching this help?" Daniel asked. "No, but I can't stop." "Why not?" Victoria turned to look at him directly for the first time that night. "Because if I stop the routine, I'll have to face the fact that I have no idea what to do with the rest of my life. This," she gestured at the house, "this grief tour, this nightly penance. It's the only thing I know how to do anymore. It's the only thing that makes sense. It doesn't make sense. It's torture. Good. I deserve to be tortured. Daniel thought about Elena's last days, the morphine haze, the way she'd squeezed his hand even when she couldn't speak anymore. The therapist told him guilt was normal. That didn't make it rational. My wife made me promise something before she died, Daniel said. She made me promise I wouldn't turn her death into a cage. She said grief was supposed to be a bridge, something you cross to get to the other side, not a house you live in forever. Your wife sounds wise? She was. I'm not following her advice yet either. Victoria almost smiled. Almost. At least you know you're supposed to cross. I'm not even sure I believe there's another side. They drove back to the estate in silence. It was 2:30 a.m. Daniel was exhausted, but Victoria looked exactly the same as she had at 10 p.m., like she'd bypassed human needs entirely. Same routine tomorrow night, Victoria said as they pulled up to the main house. 10 p.m. Don't be late. What do I do until then? Whatever you want. You're off duty. She paused with her hand on the door. Your daughter Maya, she's welcome anywhere on the grounds. There's a prep school at the south end. Harrison can arrange enrollment. It's small, 15 kids, max focused on individual learning. Lily went there. Thank you. Don't thank me. I'm not doing this for altruistic reasons. I'm doing it because... Victoria trailed off. I don't know why I'm doing it. Ask me in a month. She disappeared into the house. Daniel walked back to the guest house. Harrison was reading in the living room. She painted this, Harrison said, showing Daniel a watercolor. It was the guest house, but with people visible through the windows. A man, a girl, and an older man. All of them glowing gold. She's processing, Harrison said. That's healthy. Or she's still trying to make sense of a world that doesn't make sense. Aren't we all Mr. Rivers? Harrison stood stretching. I'll be back tomorrow evening at 9. Sleep well. But Daniel didn't sleep well. He lay in a bed more comfortable than any he'd ever owned and stared at the ceiling, thinking about Victoria standing at her daughter's grave, about Maya painting gold into everything about Elena's promise that he'd stopped believing he could keep. The next week fell into the same pattern. Every night at 10 p.m., Daniel would drive Victoria to the 4 locations. They'd sit in silence while she performed her ritual penance. 30 minutes each. Never more, never less. Like a prescription she couldn't stop taking. The Sentinel AI building, the storage unit, the cemetery, the house that used to be hers. Daniel started recognizing details. The security guard at Sentinel AI who always arrived at 10:15. The way Victoria's breathing would change when she opened the storage unit door. The specific angle she'd stand at Lily's grave. The lights in her old house that meant the family was settling in for the night. Victoria never spoke during these visits. Daniel learned to read her silence instead. The slight tremor in her hands meant the storage unit had been particularly hard. The way she'd close her eyes in the car meant she was fighting tears she refused to shed. The rigid posture meant she was barely holding herself together. On Thursday night, Maya had a nightmare. Daniel's phone rang at 1 a.m. while they were parked at the cemetery. I'm sorry, Harrison said. She's asking for you. I tried to comfort her, but I'll be right there. Daniel looked at Victoria. I have to go. My daughter. Go. Victoria didn't hesitate. I can drive myself back. Are you sure? Mr. Rivers. I may be broken, but I'm still functional. Go take care of your child. Daniel drove back to the estate, breaking every speed limit. He found Maya curled up on Harrison's lap, sobbing silently. The old man was humming something soft and British, rocking her gently. Hey, baby girl, Daniel said. Maya launched herself into his arms. She was shaking. Daniel carried her to her room, lay down with her, and held her while she cried. She didn't speak. Didn't have to. He knew these nightmares. The ones where Elena was calling for her and Maya couldn't find her. I'm here, Daniel whispered. I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. Maya clung to him. Eventually her breathing steadied. She fell back asleep with her fist clutching his shirt. Harrison appeared in the doorway. She woke up and didn't know where she was. Disoriented, she started crying and couldn't stop. It happens. New places trigger it. Daniel looked at his daughter's tear-stained face. I should have been here. You're here now. That's what matters. The next night, Daniel brought Maya with him to work. He had no choice. She refused to let him leave. I don't think this is appropriate, Daniel said to Victoria at 10 p.m. Maya was in the back seat clutching her notebook. Victoria looked at Maya through the car window. Something flickered across her face. Pain maybe, or recognition. She can come? Victoria said. Are you sure? Mr. Rivers, my daughter died 2 years ago. Your daughter is clinging to you because she's terrified of losing you too. I understand that fear. Victoria got in the back seat next to Maya. Hello, Maya. I'm Victoria. Maya stared at her. Then she wrote in her notebook, You're sad. Victoria's breath caught. Yes, I am. Me too, Maya wrote. Victoria read the words. Her hands were shaking. What makes you sad? Victoria asked. Maya drew instead of writing. A woman in a hospital bed. A little girl holding her hand. Daniel's heart clenched. Your mother, Victoria said. Maya nodded. Victoria reached out slowly like she was approaching something fragile and touched the drawing. I lost my daughter. Her name was Lily. She was 10. She had your color hair. Maya looked up at Victoria, really looked at her. Then she drew something else. 2 figures, both with cracks running through them. She showed it to Victoria. We are broken, Maya had written underneath. Yes, Victoria whispered. We are. They drove to Sentinel AI. Maya sat quietly in the back seat drawing. Victoria watched her instead of watching the building. Daniel saw it in the mirror, the way Victoria's eyes followed every pencil stroke, the way her expression shifted from empty to something that looked almost like hunger. Not for Maya specifically, but for what Maya represented. Life. Innocence. The possibility that broken things could still create beauty. At the storage unit, Victoria hesitated before getting out. Can I come? Maya asked. Her voice was so quiet, Daniel almost missed it. Victoria froze. It's where I keep my daughter's things. Maya held up her notebook. Can I see? Daniel started to object, but Victoria was already nodding. They went in together. Victoria and Maya. Daniel waited in the car. 20 minutes passed, then 30, then 40. 10 minutes past Victoria's usual limit. When they emerged, Maya was holding something. A stuffed rabbit, worn and faded. Lily's, Victoria said. Maya asked if she could hold it. I said yes. Maya climbed back in the car, clutching the rabbit. She wrote in her notebook and showed Daniel. She smells like love. Victoria got in the back seat. Her face was wet. She was crying. Actually crying. I haven't touched Lily's things since I packed them, Victoria said. 2 years. But Maya asked so innocently, so openly. She said, Can I meet your daughter through her things? And I couldn't say no. Daniel didn't know what to say. She's right. Victoria continued, wiping her face. Lily does smell like love. I'd forgotten. They went to the cemetery. This time Victoria knelt at the grave. Maya knelt beside her, still holding the rabbit. What was she like? Maya asked. Victoria's voice was rough with tears. Brilliant. Stubborn. She wanted to change the world. She believed technology should protect people, not control them. She designed systems that were supposed to save lives. My mom wanted to teach kids to read, Maya said. She said reading was like giving someone wings. They would have liked each other. Maybe they're friends now, Maya said. In heaven or wherever. Victoria looked at this 9-year-old child who'd just spoken more words in one night than she had in months. Maybe they are. They skipped the 4th location. Victoria told Daniel to drive them home. In the back seat, Maya had fallen asleep against Victoria's shoulder, still clutching Lily's rabbit. Victoria didn't move, didn't push her away. She sat rigid like she was afraid to breathe wrong and let this broken little girl sleep against her. When they got back to the estate, Daniel carried Maya inside. Victoria followed, still not speaking. At the guest house door, Victoria finally said, "She can keep the rabbit, if she wants." "Are you sure? Lily would want another little girl to love it." Victoria's voice cracked. "And I think I needed to see that Lily's things can still bring comfort, that they're not just relics. They're still capable of love." Daniel shifted Maya's weight. "Thank you, for letting her come, for sharing that." Victoria nodded, started to walk away, then stopped. "Mr. Rivers, Daniel, I think maybe your wife was right, about grief being a bridge." She looked back at him. "I've been standing on one side for 2 years, too afraid to cross. But watching your daughter tonight, the way she just exists in her grief without apologizing for it, without hiding it." She paused. "Maybe some of us need witnesses not to judge us, but to show us we're not alone on the bridge." She walked away before Daniel could respond. Inside, he laid Maya in her bed. She stirred, still half asleep. "Daddy?" she whispered. "Yeah, baby. Victoria's daughter is with Mom now. I know it." Maya's eyes were already closing. They're teaching each other things. Lily's teaching Mom about computers. Mom's teaching Lily about gardens. They're not sad there. Daniel kissed her forehead. "How do you know?" "Because that's what love does. It finds the people who need it." She was asleep before he could respond. Daniel stood in the doorway watching his daughter breathe, thinking about Victoria crying for the first time in 2 years, about Lily's rabbit that smelled like love, about how sometimes the most broken people can show each other where the cracks let the light in. Outside, the fog was lifting. Morning was coming. And for the first time since Elena died, Daniel thought maybe, just maybe, there was another side to this bridge after all. Maya started talking again 3 weeks later. Not all the time, and not to everyone, but the words came back in small bursts. She'd ask Harrison about his tea recipes. She'd tell Daniel about her drawings. And she'd sit with Victoria during the nightly drives, asking questions about Lily that Victoria answered with increasing ease. The routine had shifted. Victoria still visited the 4 locations, but now Maya came along most nights. The silence that had once been suffocating became comfortable, punctuated by Maya's observations and Victoria's carefully measured responses. Daniel watched them in the rearview mirror and saw 2 people teaching each other how to be human again. But he also noticed things Victoria didn't talk about. The way her jaw would tighten when they passed Sentinel AI headquarters. The increasing number of phone calls she'd decline. The texts from Harrison that made her face go pale. On a Tuesday night in late November, Maya was at a sleepover with 2 girls from Cascade Prep, her first social event since Elena died. Daniel and Victoria were alone in the car for the first time in weeks. "She's doing better," Victoria said as they pulled up to Sentinel AI. "Maya, she smiled yesterday when Harrison made his terrible jokes. She likes him. He reminds her of her grandfather. He's good with children. He practically raised Lily when I was building the company." Victoria's voice went quiet. "Another failure on my list." "You were providing for your family. That's not failure. Tell that to the 10-year-old who died in my car." They sat in silence. Through the Sentinel AI windows, Daniel could see people moving around. It was nearly midnight, but the office was busy. More people than usual. "Something's happening," Victoria said. She was leaning forward, staring at the building. "That's the senior development team, and that's Marcus Thorne. He never works this late unless there's a crisis." "Do you want to go in?" "No, I can't. They don't want me there." "Who doesn't?" "The board. Marcus. Everyone. Victoria pulled out her phone, scrolled through something, then put it away. They've been trying to push me out for months, slowly, legally. They want me to sell my remaining shares and disappear completely. They say my presence is destabilizing to the company. Is it? Probably. I founded Sentinel AI, then abandoned it. I hold 35% of shares but haven't attended a meeting in 2 years. I'm a ghost haunting my own creation. She laughed bitterly. Marcus sends me weekly emails asking me to step down gracefully. He's probably right. I'm dead weight. Daniel turned to look at her directly. Do you believe that? I don't know what I believe anymore. They drove to the storage unit. Victoria went in alone like always, but she came out after only 15 minutes instead of 30. Her face was composed, but Daniel saw the tension in her shoulders. Let's skip the rest tonight, Victoria said. I'm tired. They'd never skipped before, not once in a month. Are you okay? No, but I will be. Victoria got in the back seat. Take me home. Daniel drove back to the estate. The November rain had started turning Portland into a blur of lights and wet pavement. Victoria stared out the window, her reflection ghostly in the glass. Daniel, she said as they pulled up to the main house. If I asked you to do something that had nothing to do with your job description, would you? Depends what it is. I need someone to look at something for me. Sentinel AI's network activity. I have access to the logs. I built most of the security architecture myself, but I can't look at them without... She trailed off. Without falling apart. Every line of code reminds me of Lily. She helped design half of it. I'm not a tech person, I'm an architect. But you understand patterns, systems, how things connect. Victoria pulled out her phone, transferred something. Daniel's phone buzzed. That's 3 months of network logs. I need you to tell me if you see anything unusual, anything that doesn't fit. What am I looking for? I don't know. That's the problem. I just know something feels wrong. The way Marcus is acting, the late-night meetings, the pressure to sell my shares. It's not just about getting rid of a grieving founder. There's something else. Daniel looked at the files she'd sent. Thousands of pages of technical data he barely understood. I'll try, he said. That's all I ask. Over the next week, Daniel became obsessed. During the days while Maya was at school, he spread printouts across the guest house dining table. He didn't understand the technical details, but Victoria was right. He understood patterns. How systems worked, how things that didn't belong stood out. Harrison brought him coffee and sandwiches, watching with curious concern. What exactly are you looking for? Harrison asked on the third day. I don't know yet, but there's something here. Look. Daniel pointed to highlighted sections. These access logs. Someone's accessing Sentinel AI's autonomous vehicle protocols from outside the network. Not often, just once every few weeks. But it's consistent. Could be legitimate. Contractors, consultants. Maybe. But why always at 3 a.m.? And why from IP addresses that keep changing? Daniel pulled up another document. Victoria gave me access to the access logs from 2 years ago, right before Lily died. The same pattern was there. Someone was probing the vehicle systems for months before the crash. Harrison went very still. You're saying the hack that killed Lily wasn't random. I'm saying it was planned, tested, perfected. Daniel's hands were shaking. And it's still happening. Someone's still accessing these systems. You need to tell Victoria. Not yet. I need more proof. Because if I'm right, it means someone she trusted killed her daughter deliberately. And I need to be absolutely certain before I destroy whatever fragile piece she's found. That night the news broke. Daniel was driving Victoria and Maya to their first stop when Victoria's phone exploded with notifications. She checked it and went white. Pull over, she said. What's wrong? Pull over now. Daniel pulled into a parking lot. Victoria was staring at her phone screen, her hands trembling so violently she could barely hold it. Another crash, she whispered. Sentinel AI autonomous vehicle, family of 4 in Seattle. 2 adults, 2 teenagers. They're all critical. Maya leaned forward from the back seat. What happened? The car accelerated into a barrier at 90 miles per hour, just like Lily's. Victoria's voice was hollow. They're saying it was a malfunction, but I know better. It was another hack. Someone is still doing this. Daniel's research flooded his mind. The patterns, the 3 a.m. access logs, the persistent probing of safety systems. Victoria, I need to tell you something. But she wasn't listening. She was reading her phone, and with each swipe her face grew harder. The board called an emergency meeting, tomorrow morning. They're demanding I sell my shares and resign completely. They're blaming this on me, saying my original safety protocols were flawed. That this is my fault. She looked up and her eyes were dead again. Empty like the first night Daniel met her. They're right. It is my fault. No, it's not. Listen to me. I killed those people. Just like I killed Lily. Everything I touch dies. Victoria opened the car door. I need to walk. Don't follow me. She disappeared into the rain before Daniel could stop her. Maya was crying in the back seat. Is she going to be okay? I don't know, baby. Daniel called Harrison. Victoria just ran off. She's in crisis. Can you come get Maya? I'm on my way. 10 minutes. Daniel sat with Maya until Harrison arrived. Then he went looking for Victoria. He found her 40 minutes later, sitting on a bench overlooking the Columbia River. She was soaked through rain streaming down her face, mixing with tears. Go away, she said when Daniel sat beside her. No. I said go away. You're fired. I'll pay you through the end of the year. Just leave me alone. I'm not leaving, and you're not firing me. Daniel pulled out his phone, protected under his jacket. I've been looking at your network logs, the ones you sent me. I don't care about network logs. 4 more people are dying because of me. 4 more people are dying because someone is deliberately sabotaging your company's vehicles, and I think I know why. Daniel pulled up his findings. Look at this. Consistent access to your autonomous vehicle systems from outside the network. It started 8 months before Lily died. It's continued ever since. Always at 3 a.m., always from different IP addresses. But there's a pattern. Victoria looked at the screen. Her engineer brain kicked in despite her grief. That's not possible. We have multiple security layers. Biometric authentication. You can't access those systems remotely without admin-level credentials. Right. Which means whoever is doing this has intimate knowledge of your security architecture. Daniel scrolled through more data. I cross-referenced the access times with your company's meeting schedules. Every single intrusion happened on nights when one specific person had 24-hour building access logged. Who? Marcus Thorne, your CFO. Victoria stared at the data. Her face went through a series of transformations. Disbelief, recognition, rage. No. Marcus has been with me for 10 years. He was my first major hire. He's been pushing me to step down, but that's just business. He wouldn't. She stopped. The hostile takeover attempt last year. The one that failed. Marcus was furious when I refused to sell. He said I was being irrational, that the company could be worth billions with the right buyer. What buyer? Titan Tech, Chinese conglomerate. They wanted our autonomous vehicle technology. We refused because our contracts with the Department of Defense prohibit foreign acquisition. Victoria's eyes widened. Oh God, Marcus stood to make $40 million from that deal. His share package was structured around a successful sale. So he's been systematically destroying the company's reputation to drive down the stock price, Daniel said, making it look like your technology is fatally flawed. When you're finally forced out and the stock crashes, Titan Tech can buy it cheap through shell companies. Marcus gets his payday, and our government's security technology ends up in Chinese hands. Victoria stood up, water streaming off her. Lily. He knew about her test that day. He approved it. He said it would be good PR, the founder's daughter showing confidence in the product. He sent her to her death knowing the system was compromised. Victoria's face transformed into something Daniel had never seen. Pure fury. He murdered my daughter for $40 million. We need to call the police. The FBI. This is... No. Victoria was already walking toward the car. I'm going to Sentinel AI. Right now. I'm calling an emergency board meeting of my own. Victoria, you can't just... Watch me. I built that company. I still own 35%, and I'm about to tear it apart to expose what Marcus has done. Daniel followed her back to the car. Victoria was moving like a force of nature, her grief transformed into something sharp and dangerous. Call Harrison, Victoria said as they drove. Tell him to bring Maya to Sentinel AI. I want her there. Absolutely not. This is going to be a war zone. Exactly. Which is why I need her there, to remind me why I'm doing this. Victoria's voice was steel. My daughter died because a man I trusted valued money over human life. Those people in Seattle are dying for the same reason. I've spent 2 years punishing myself for Lily's death when I should have been hunting her killer. That ends tonight. They reached Sentinel AI at 2 a.m. The building was still lit up. Victoria marched through the front doors like she owned the place because she did. Security guards scrambled. Employees stared. Victoria went straight to the executive floor. Marcus Thorne was in his office on the phone. He looked up and went pale. I need to call you back, Marcus said into the phone. He stood. Victoria, I wasn't expecting you. I'm sure you weren't. Victoria crossed the office and slammed a tablet onto his desk. Explain these access logs, Marcus. Explain why someone with your credentials has been hacking into our autonomous vehicle systems for 3 years. Marcus glanced at the screen. His face remained composed, but Daniel saw the calculation in his eyes. Victoria, you're clearly upset about the Seattle incident. Understandably. But you're not thinking clearly. You haven't been for 2 years. These logs don't show what you think they... Don't you dare patronize me! I designed these systems. I know exactly what these logs show. Victoria's voice could cut glass. You've been sabotaging our vehicles, causing crashes, destroying our reputation, all so you could tank the stock price and enable a foreign acquisition that would make you rich. That's insane. You're having a breakdown. I'm having a breakthrough. You killed my daughter, Marcus. You sent her into that car knowing the system was compromised. You murdered a 10-year-old child for money. Marcus's composure finally cracked. You can't prove any of this. These logs could be interpreted a dozen ways. You're a grieving mother looking for someone to blame besides yourself. She's not alone. Daniel stepped forward holding his own tablet. I've documented everything. The patterns, the timing, the correlation with your access logs. I've also traced the IP addresses. They route through servers in Beijing. The same servers registered to a Titan Tech subsidiary. Marcus looked between them. Who the hell are you? Someone who understands patterns, Daniel said. And someone who's already sent all of this to the FBI, the DOJ, and the Senate Intelligence Committee, about an hour ago. They should be here any minute. As if on cue, sirens wailed in the distance. Marcus's face went from white to red. You're making a huge mistake. Both of you. Titan Tech has lawyers that will bury you. The board will never support this. You've been absent for 2 years, Victoria. You're unstable. No one will believe. The office door opened. Harrison entered with Maya. The little girl was clutching Lily's rabbit, her eyes wide. Marcus stared at Maya. What is a child doing here? That child, Victoria said, is here because she lost her mother and understands what grief does to people. She's here because she's been helping me learn how to be human again. And she's here because I want her to see what happens when you choose to stop hiding from the truth. Maya walked over to Victoria and took her hand. The gesture was simple, but the meaning was clear. You're not alone. Victoria squeezed Maya's hand. Then she looked at Marcus with clear eyes. I've been hiding for 2 years, while you've been destroying everything I built. While you've been killing people. But I'm done hiding Marcus. I'm done letting my grief be used as a weapon against me. As of right now, I'm resuming my position as CEO of Sentinel AI. My first act will be to fire you. My second will be to cooperate fully with federal investigators. My third will be to personally testify against you at your trial. You can't do this, Marcus said. The board won't allow it. The board works for shareholders. I'm the largest shareholder. And I just sent this entire conversation. Victoria tapped her phone. To every board member, every major investor, and 3 journalists at the Times, the Post, and the Wall Street Journal. By morning, the whole world will know what you've done. Marcus lunged for Victoria. Daniel intercepted him, shoving him back. Federal agents burst through the door seconds later, guns drawn. Marcus Thorne, the lead agent said. FBI, you're under arrest for conspiracy, corporate espionage, and murder. Marcus was still screaming about lawyers and lawsuits as they cuffed him. Victoria watched with a face carved from stone. When they were gone, Victoria's legs gave out. She collapsed into her desk chair, suddenly looking every one of her 52 years. Maya climbed into her lap, wrapping small arms around her neck. "You were so brave," Maya whispered. "Lily would be proud." Victoria buried her face in Maya's hair and finally truly broke. Great heaving sobs that shook her entire body. Harrison appeared with tissues. Daniel stood guard at the door. "I'm sorry," Victoria gasped between sobs. "I'm so sorry I didn't see it sooner. I'm sorry I let my grief blind me. I'm sorry." "Stop," Maya said. She pulled back to look at Victoria's face. "Mom always said sorry doesn't fix things. Action does. And you took action tonight. You stopped him from hurting more people. But I can't bring Lily back." "No, but you can make sure what happened to her means something." Maya held up the rabbit. "Lily made programs to protect people. Now you can make sure her work actually does protect them. That's how you honor her." Victoria stared at this 9-year-old child with her mother's wisdom. "How did you get so wise?" "I had a good teacher, and now I have 2. Maya looked at Daniel. "We're all teaching each other, aren't we? How to be broken and brave at the same time." The FBI wanted statements. The board wanted explanations. Lawyers wanted consultations. But Victoria told them all to wait until morning. "Right now," she said, "I need to go somewhere." They drove to Riverview Cemetery as dawn was breaking. Victoria, Daniel, Maya, and Harrison. They stood at Lily's grave together. "I'm sorry, I've been coming here to punish myself," Victoria said to the headstone. "I'm sorry I turned your death into a cage instead of a catalyst. But I promise you, starting today, things change. Your safety protocols will be implemented the way you designed them. Your vision for technology that protects instead of harms will be honored, and the man who killed you will face justice." Maya placed flowers on the grave daisies, Lily's favorite, according to Harrison. "My mom says hi from heaven. She says she's teaching your daughter about flowers, and they're both watching out for us." Victoria smiled through tears. "Tell your mom thank you. For sharing you with me. For helping me remember that broken things can still be beautiful." The sun rose over Portland, casting gold light across the cemetery. Victoria stood at her daughter's grave, not in penance this time, but in promise. "I'm not healed," Victoria said, as they walked back to the car. "I'll never be healed. But maybe that's not the point. Maybe the point is to be broken in a way that lets light through instead of keeping it out." "Elena said something like that once," Daniel said. "She said grief cracks you open. You can either let it hollow you out, or you can let it fill with something new. Something that honors what you lost." "What did you let it fill with?" Daniel looked at Maya, who was walking ahead with Harrison chattering about a new painting she wanted to create. "Her. And this. The strange family we're building from broken pieces." Victoria nodded. "I think I'd like to be part of that family. If you'll have me." "We already do." They drove back to the estate as Portland woke up around them. Victoria's phone was exploding with messages. The story was breaking. Marcus's arrest was news. Sentinel AI stock was in freefall. But Victoria silenced it all. Today, she said, I'm going to spend with the people who matter. Tomorrow, I'll start rebuilding the company. But today belongs to us. At the estate, they made breakfast together in the main house's kitchen, the first time it had been used in 2 years. Harrison cooked eggs. Daniel made terrible pancakes. Maya set the table. And Victoria laughed when the smoke alarm went off. We're a disaster, Daniel said, fanning smoke away. We're a family, Victoria corrected. And families are supposed to be messy. Maya held up her orange juice. To being messy. They toasted with mismatched glasses, 4 broken people learning how to be whole again. Outside, the November rain had stopped. The sun was shining, and somewhere, 2 mothers were watching and smiling, knowing their children were going to be okay. The media storm hit 2 hours after breakfast. News vans lined up outside the estate gates. Victoria's phone rang constantly until she turned it off. Harrison fielded calls from lawyers, investors, and 3 different federal agencies. Through it all, Victoria sat at the kitchen table with Maya teaching her how to write simple code. This is a loop, Victoria explained, pointing at the screen. It tells the computer to repeat an action until a condition is met. Lily used to say loops were like promises the computer keeps going until it finds what it's looking for. Maya typed carefully, her tongue poking out in concentration. What if it never finds it? Then you write in a fail-safe, an escape route, so nothing gets trapped forever. Victoria's voice caught. Something my daughter understood better than I did. Daniel watched them from across the kitchen, where he was loading the dishwasher, a strange domestic scene in a house that had been a mausoleum just weeks ago. His phone buzzed, a text from his former boss at the architecture firm he'd worked for before Elena got sick. Saw the news. You're the guy who caught Marcus Thorne. Call me. We should talk. Daniel stared at the message. His architecture career had ended 18 months ago, when he couldn't focus, couldn't design, couldn't see beauty in buildings anymore. Everything had become just structures holding broken people. You should call him back, Victoria said. She'd been watching him. Your boss. How did you know? You got that look, the one I get when something from my old life intrudes on my new one. She saved Maya's code and stood. Daniel, I need to go to Sentinel AI this afternoon. Face the board, the employees, the investors. I need to start fixing what Marcus broke, but I can't do it alone. You want me to come? No. I need you to do something harder. I need you to start living again. Call your old boss. Talk about architecture. Maya and Harrison will be fine here for a few hours. I'm your employee. My job is... Your job, Victoria interrupted, is to be my witness, to show me what moving forward looks like. So move forward. Show me how it's done. Daniel looked at Maya, who nodded encouragingly. Daddy, you used to draw buildings all the time. I remember. You'd let me color them in. That was before Mom died, I know, but she wouldn't want you to stop forever. Maya's voice was gentle but firm. That's not honoring her. That's just being stuck. Victoria picked up Daniel's phone and hit dial before he could stop her. She handed it to him. It was ringing. Chen Residence. Daniel stammered when his former boss answered. I mean, this is Daniel Rivers. Dan Jesus, I thought you'd disappeared off the face of the earth. Listen, I've been following this Sentinel AI story. You're working for Victoria Chen. The Victoria Chen. It's complicated. Everything's complicated. Look, we've got a project. Big commercial development in Southeast Portland. Mixed-use sustainable design, exactly the kind of thing you used to love. The lead architect just quit ethical concerns about displacement of low-income residents. We need someone who gives a damn about people, not just buildings. Someone who understands that architecture affects lives. That's you, Dan. That was always you." Daniel felt something crack open in his chest. "I haven't worked in 18 months. My license? Reinstate it. We'll cover the costs. Hell, we'll cover your continuing education credits. We need you, Dan. Or we need who you used to be. Maybe who you still are under all that grief." Daniel looked at Victoria. She was watching him with knowing eyes. She mouthed, "Say yes." "I need to think about it," Daniel said. "Think fast. Project starts in 3 weeks. Call me Monday." The line went dead. Daniel set down the phone. His hands were shaking. "I can't," he said. "I can't just go back to designing buildings like nothing happened, like Elena didn't." "You're not going back," Victoria said. "You're going forward. There's a difference. Going back means pretending the loss didn't happen. Going forward means carrying it with you while still moving." "I don't know if I can." Maya came over and took his hand. "Try, Daddy. Just try. That's all Mom would ask." Victoria left for Sentinel AI an hour later. She wore a gray suit, her hair pulled back, looking every inch the CEO she used to be. But something was different. She hugged Maya before leaving. She squeezed Daniel's shoulder. She thanked Harrison for the coffee. Small gestures the old Victoria never would have made. "You've got this," Daniel said. "I've got this," Victoria repeated like she was trying to believe it. Daniel watched her drive away, then turned to Harrison. "Is she really ready for this?" "No one's ever really ready to face their demons, Mr. Rivers. They just do it anyway." Harrison handed Maya her art supplies. "Now, young lady, I believe you wanted to paint the greenhouse." While Maya and Harrison headed outside, Daniel sat alone in the guest house. He pulled out his old portfolio designs he'd created before Elena got sick. Mixed-use developments that prioritized community spaces. Affordable housing that didn't look institutional. A community center that integrated accessible design with beauty. He'd been good at this once. He'd cared about it. But looking at the drawings now felt like looking at artifacts from someone else's life. His phone rang. Unknown number. "Mr. Rivers, this is Sarah Mendez. I'm an attorney representing the family injured in Seattle. The Chen autonomous vehicle crash." Daniel's stomach dropped. "I'm not sure why you're calling me. I'm not—" "You're the one who exposed Marcus Thorne. My clients wanted to thank you. They're going to survive all 4 of them. But they could have died. They would have died if you hadn't uncovered what Thorne was doing." "I just looked at patterns. Victoria did the real work." Ms. Chen has also called to offer support. Full medical coverage, financial compensation, personal apology. "My clients are skeptical. They've been burned by corporate promises before. But they wanted me to ask you something. Is Victoria Chen sincere? Is this real or just damage control?" Daniel thought about Victoria standing at Lily's grave, promising to do better. Victoria crying in Maya's arms. Victoria teaching his daughter to code while rebuilding herself piece by piece. "It's real," Daniel said. "She's not doing this because it's good business. She's doing it because she understands what they're going through. Because she lost her daughter the same way, and she spent 2 years drowning in guilt. This is her trying to make sure no one else drowns." Silence on the line. Then, "Thank you, Mr. Rivers. That's what we needed to hear." After she hung up, Daniel sat staring at his old designs. Slowly, carefully, he opened his laptop and started sketching. Not from the old portfolio. Something new. A community center that felt like a home. With spaces for children to play, and adults to grieve, and families to rebuild. He worked for 3 hours straight. It was rough, unfinished, probably terrible. But it was something. A start. Maya found him at sunset, covered in digital sketches. "You're drawing again," she said. "Trying to, not sure if I remember how." Maya climbed into his lap, studying the screen. "It looks like our house, the guest house, but bigger. It's supposed to be a community center, a place for families going through hard times. Medical crises, loss, trauma. Somewhere they can be together while they figure out how to keep going. Mom would love this. Yeah, she would. Daniel saved the file. Want to help me design the art room? They worked together until Harrison called them for dinner. Maya suggested windows everywhere, so the light gets in, and Daniel added them. She wanted bright colors and soft furniture. He made notes. They were still sketching when Victoria came home at 8. She looked exhausted, wrung out, but not empty, not hollow, just tired in the way people get when they've fought hard and survived. How did it go? Daniel asked. Victoria collapsed onto the sofa. Maya immediately climbed up next to her. The board wanted me to step down quietly, issue a statement blaming Marcus, then disappear again, let someone else clean up the mess. Victoria put her arm around Maya. I told them no. I told them I'm staying. I'm rebuilding this company the way my daughter envisioned it, ethically, transparently, with safety as the absolute priority. Half the board walked out. The other half stayed. We'll see who wins. What do you need? Daniel asked. Honestly, ice cream and bad television. I've been a CEO for 12 hours, and I'm already exhausted. How did I do this for 20 years? You had Lily, Maya said quietly. She made it worth it. Victoria's eyes filled. Yeah, she did. But you know what? Maybe there are other things worth it too. Like making sure no other kid loses their parent because someone valued profit over safety. Like proving that broken people can still build beautiful things. Harrison appeared with ice cream. 4 bowls. They ate in comfortable silence, watching a cooking show where everything went wrong and everyone laughed anyway. This is nice, Victoria said eventually. This family thing, I'd forgotten what it felt like. We're still figuring it out, Daniel said. Pretty sure we're doing it wrong. All families do it wrong, Harrison said. That's what makes them families instead of corporations. Over the next 2 weeks, patterns emerged. Victoria went to Sentinel AI daily, working 16-hour days to stabilize the company. She fired the board members who'd enabled Marcus. She hired a new security team. She personally called every family affected by the crashes. At night, she'd come home exhausted and sit with Maya, learning about her day, teaching her more coding, being present in a way she hadn't been since Lily died. Daniel enrolled in the continuing education courses needed to reinstate his architecture license. He met with his old boss, toured the Portland development site, and felt something shift inside him. The building didn't look like a cage anymore. It looked like possibility. Maya thrived. She was talking regularly now, making friends at Cascade Prep Painting constantly. Her art evolved, still lonely towers sometimes, but now they had lights in the windows. Now they had people inside. But rebuilding wasn't linear. There were hard days. 3 weeks after Marcus's arrest, Victoria came home and found Daniel and Maya in the art studio. She stood in the doorway, tears streaming down her face. What happened? Daniel asked. Today was Lily's birthday. She would have been 13. Victoria's voice broke. I was in back-to-back meetings all day and I forgot. I forgot my daughter's birthday. Maya set down her paintbrush and went to Victoria. You didn't forget. You were honoring her, by fixing what broke, by protecting other kids. But I should have been at her grave. You should have done exactly what Lily would have wanted, Maya said. She designed safety systems right. You were making those systems work right. That's the best birthday present you could give her. Victoria sank to the floor sobbing. Maya sat with her small arms around this woman, who was learning how to carry grief without drowning in it. Daniel watched them and thought about Elena. Her birthday had been last month. He'd worked through it, helping Victoria prepare for board meetings, not letting himself stop and feel. Maybe that was okay. Maybe honoring the dead didn't always mean stopping everything. Maybe it meant carrying their love forward into action. That night, they drove to Lily's grave together, all 4 of them. They brought flowers and cake and sat in the grass as the sun set. Happy birthday, Lily, Victoria said to the headstone. I'm sorry I wasn't here earlier. I was busy making sure your safety protocols actually work. making sure no one else's mom has to stand at a grave like this. I hope that's okay. Maya placed her painting on the grave, a portrait of Lily based on photos surrounded by code and flowers. I painted this for you. I never met you, but I feel like I know you. My mom says hi from heaven. She says you two are friends now. Harrison told a story about Lily at age 5, demanding to reprogram the toaster because it doesn't toast efficiently. They laughed and cried and ate cake on the grass. This is what moving forward looks like, Victoria said as they drove home. Not forgetting, not leaving them behind, just carrying them with us while we keep living. Elena would approve, Daniel said. So would Lily. The next Monday, Daniel started his new architecture project. The development team was skeptical. He'd been gone too long, they said. He'd lost his edge. But when he presented his revisions to their plans, adding community spaces and affordable units designing for people instead of just profit, they went quiet. This is good, the project manager finally said. This is really good. Where has this been? Buried under grief, Daniel said honestly. But I'm digging it out. He worked from home most days, so he could be there when Maya got back from school. Victoria would call during lunch asking his opinion on company restructuring. He didn't know tech, but he knew systems, and she trusted his eye for what fit and what didn't. You're basically my unpaid consultant, Victoria said one afternoon. You're paying me $120,000 to drive you around at night. I think consulting is covered. We don't do the night drives anymore. It was true. They'd stopped the grief tour 2 weeks ago. Victoria didn't need to punish herself anymore. She was too busy actually fixing things. So what am I being paid for now? Daniel asked. For being family, for showing up, for reminding me daily that broken people can still be useful. Victoria paused. And for designing the Lily Chen Foundation building. I want to make it real, Daniel. A place for families in crisis. Medical financial grief support. Everything we wished we'd had. Victoria, I'm not ready for... You're designing it anyway. You've already sketched it. Maya showed me. It's perfect. It's exactly what Lily would have wanted. Daniel looked at his daughter, who was grinning. Traitor, he mouthed. She said it was really good, Maya said. I agreed. It's happening, Daddy. So it happened. Daniel spent the next month developing the design. A building that felt like a home, not an institution. Windows everywhere. Soft spaces for children. Private areas for grief. A community kitchen. An art therapy room that Maya helped design. A computer lab for kids who loved coding like Lily had. Victoria funded it completely. Started the paperwork for the nonprofit. Hired staff who understood trauma and loss. She worked insane hours, but she also came home for dinner every night. She was learning balance in a way she never had before. Lily used to beg me to work from home more, Victoria said one evening. They were all together. Harrison cooking, Maya setting the table, Daniel reviewing foundation plans. I always said I couldn't. The company needed me, but the truth is, Lily needed me more, and I chose wrong. I can't get that time back, but I can choose differently now. You are choosing differently, Daniel said. You're building a company that doesn't require people to sacrifice their families. That's revolutionary in tech. It's common sense, but common sense isn't common when profit is involved. Victoria looked at her phone, which was buzzing with work emails. She silenced it. This dinner is more important than anything in my inbox. Maya smiled. Lily would be proud of you. I hope so, kiddo. I really hope so. The Seattle family came to visit in January. Victoria had invited them, offering to show them the safety improvements she'd implemented. Daniel expected tension, anger, blame. Instead, the parents Marcus and Jennifer brought their teenagers and hugged Victoria at the door. We don't blame you, Jennifer said. We blame the man who tried to kill us for profit. You stopped him. You saved our lives and maybe hundreds of others. Victoria broke down. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you went through that because of technology I created. Technology you created to protect people, Marcus said. That man corrupted it. But you fixed it. You're still fixing it. That matters. Their teenagers, Caleb 16 and Emma 14, were awkward and quiet. Trauma did that. But Maya took them to the art studio, and within an hour, Daniel could hear them talking, even laughing. "Your daughter is remarkable," Jennifer said, watching through the window. "How is she so well adjusted after losing her mother?" "She's not well adjusted. She's just learned that being broken doesn't mean being useless." Daniel's throat tightened. "We're all just doing our best." That's all anyone can do. The Seattle family stayed for 2 days. Victoria showed them the redesigned safety systems. Daniel walked them through the foundation plans. Harrison cooked meals that brought everyone together. Maya painted with Emma, who admitted she'd been having nightmares since the crash. "Me too," Maya said. "About my mom dying. The dreams where I can't find her, and she's calling for me." "Does it get better?" "Kind of. The nightmares still come. But they're not as scary when you have people who understand, who don't tell you to just get over it." When the Seattle family left, they exchanged contact information, promised to stay in touch. Jennifer hugged Victoria and whispered, "Thank you for turning your grief into something that helps instead of harms. That's true strength." After they drove away, Victoria stood in the driveway watching until their car disappeared. "I'm not strong," she said to Daniel. "I'm just stubborn. I refuse to let Marcus win by staying broken. Stubbornness works." Elena was stubborn too, wasn't she? God, yes. Stubbornest person I ever met. When she got sick, she made lists. Things she wanted to accomplish, things she wanted Maya to know, things she wanted me to promise. She was dying, and she was still organizing everyone else's lives. Lily was like that. Bossy in the best way. She'd have been running Sentinel AI by 25 and doing it better than I ever did. They stood together in comfortable silence. Two people learning how to carry ghosts without letting them drag them under. "We're going to be okay," Victoria said. "All of us. It won't be easy. But we'll be okay." "Yeah, I think we will." February brought Daniel's first completed architectural project in 2 years. The Portland development broke ground with his community-focused designs. He stood at the site wearing a hard hat, feeling the weight of creation instead of loss. Victoria launched the Lily Chen Foundation officially. The building was still under construction, but the program started immediately temporary spaces for families in crisis support groups, financial assistance. The foundation's mission statement was simple: no family should face crisis alone. Maya's 9th birthday came and went. They celebrated with cake and presents, and Tears' the first birthday without Elena. But also the first birthday with Victoria and Harrison. The family was different now. Incomplete in some ways, but complete in others. "Mom would like Victoria," Maya said, blowing out candles. "She always said the best people are the ones who've been broken and put themselves back together." "Your mom was a smart woman," Victoria said. "The smartest. Like you." That night, after Maya was asleep, Daniel and Victoria sat on the guest house porch. The Columbia River was dark and endless below them. "I never thanked you properly," Victoria said, "for taking the job nobody wanted, for showing up every night during my grief tour, for being patient with my brokenness, for exposing Marcus, for reminding me that I'm still capable of being human. You thanked me with a home for my daughter, with a reason to keep going, with a family when mine had fallen apart." Daniel looked at her. "We saved each other, Victoria. That's what broken people do." Harrison told me something last week. He said that for 2 years he'd watched me slowly disappear, becoming a ghost in my own life. But then you and Maya arrived, and he watched me become solid again, real again. He said you gave him his employer back, but more importantly, you gave him his friend back. Harrison's a good man. The best. He stayed when everyone else left. He believed I could come back when I didn't believe it myself. Victoria smiled. "We're lucky, you and I, to have people who refuse to let us disappear completely. Elena used to say that's what love is, refusing to let people vanish even when they want to. Lily said something similar. She said love was being the light when someone else is burned out, being their flashlight until they could find their own switch again. They sat in silence, two people who understood loss in ways they'd never wanted to, but also two people who were learning that loss doesn't have to be the end of the story. Sometimes it's just a terrible middle chapter before something new begins. The foundation building will be done in June, Daniel said. Your nonprofit status should clear by then. You'll be able to start full operations. Will you design more buildings for me? The foundation will need to expand. Multiple locations eventually. Are you offering me a job? I'm offering you a partnership. You design spaces that heal. I fund them. We help families survive their worst days. Seems like a good use of our combined brokenness. Daniel thought about it, about spending the rest of his career creating spaces for people in crisis, about turning his grief into something useful, about honoring Elena by helping others the way he wished someone had helped them. Okay, he said. Partnership. They shook hands. Two broken people making a promise to stay broken together, but to be useful in their brokenness. To let their cracks be filled with something that helped instead of hurt. Inside the guest house, Maya was dreaming. In the main house, Harrison was reading. In Portland, families were struggling through their own dark nights. And somewhere beyond all of that, two mothers were watching and knowing that their children, all of them, were going to be just fine. Not healed, not fixed, not whole in the way they used to be, but whole in a new way. A way that honored the breaking by building something beautiful from the pieces. The Lily Chen Foundation opened on June 15th, exactly 2 years and 3 months after Lily's death. Daniel stood at the entrance watching contractors remove the last safety barriers. Feeling Elena's presence so strongly, he almost turned around, expecting to see her. She'd love this, Victoria said, appearing beside him. She'd started doing that, reading his thoughts, understanding when he was talking to ghosts. Elena always wanted to teach in a place like this, where kids weren't just students, they were survivors. She believed everyone had something to teach, even in their brokenness. Lily believed that too. She used to say bugs in code weren't failures, they were opportunities to learn better design. Victoria touched the building's entrance where Lily's name was etched in gold. I still can't believe we actually built this. You built it. I just drew the plans. We built it. Together. That's how it works now. Maya burst through the doors, paint splattered on her shirt, grinning. She was 10 now, taller still, too thin, but getting stronger. Her silence was a memory. These days, she barely stopped talking. The art room is perfect, Daddy. Emma's class just finished their first session, and Mrs. Rodriguez says they're naturals. And guess what 3 kids asked if they could take supplies home because they want to keep creating. Isn't that amazing? Daniel caught her in a hug. That's amazing, sweetheart. Mrs. Rodriguez followed Maya out, wiping tears from her weathered face. The woman who'd babysat Maya through Elena's worst days now ran the foundation's family support programs. Mija, she said to Victoria, this place is a miracle. You know how many families I've watched break apart because they had nowhere to go. Nowhere that understood this. She gestured at the building. This saves lives. That's the idea, Victoria said quietly. Though I'm still not sure I deserve to. Stop, Mrs. Rodriguez interrupted firmly. You made mistakes. You owned them. You fixed what you could fix and honored what you couldn't. That's redemption, Mija. Accept it. The opening ceremony started at noon. 200 people showed up, families the foundation had already helped, Sentinel AI employees, local politicians, journalists. The Seattle family was there, all 4 of them healthy now. Marcus and Jennifer had become friends with Victoria, bonding over shared trauma and the long road back from it. Daniel stood backstage with Victoria while she prepared to speak. She was terrified, he could see it, in how she kept adjusting her note cards, how her breathing had gone shallow. You don't have to do this, Daniel said. Harrison can speak, or I can. No, I need to. Victoria stared at her reflection in a window. I spent 2 years hiding from the world. Today, I face it. For Lily. For everyone who deserves better than a CEO who disappeared when things got hard. Maya appeared holding Lily's worn rabbit. She'd carried it every day since Victoria gave it to her. Lily says you've got this, Maya said seriously. She just told me. Lily's talking to you now. Victoria's voice was gentle, not mocking. Sometimes, when I need to hear something brave, Mom talks to me too. They both say the same thing, that being scared and doing it anyway is what courage actually is. Victoria knelt down eye level with Maya. Thank you for carrying Lily's rabbit. For keeping her close when I couldn't. I didn't carry her for you. I carried her for me. She makes me feel less alone. Maya hugged the rabbit. But I think she'd want to be up there with you today, when you talk about her. So everyone knows she's still here, still mattering. Victoria took the rabbit with shaking hands. Okay, we'll do it together. The speech was supposed to be 10 minutes. Victoria had it memorized, every word Harrison had helped her craft. But when she walked onto that stage, when she saw all those faces, people she'd failed, people she'd saved, people who were still deciding which category she fell into, the prepared words died in her throat. She stood there silent for so long that people started shifting uncomfortably. Daniel was about to go up to save her when Victoria finally spoke. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. She began, her voice rough. I wrote a speech. A good one. Professional, appropriate, inspiring. But standing here looking at all of you all, I can think is that 2 years ago, my daughter died because I was too arrogant to see danger coming. Too focused on profit and innovation to prioritize actual safety. Too absent to notice that someone I trusted was destroying everything we'd built. The crowd was silent. Journalists were scribbling furiously. Lily was 10 years old. She loved coding and terrible puns and those strawberry candies that stick to your teeth. She believed technology should protect people, not control them. She designed safety systems that were smarter than anything my engineers could create, and then someone bypassed all of it and killed her. And I broke. Victoria held up Lily's rabbit. This was hers. She slept with it every night, even though she was too old for stuffed animals. She'd had it since she was 2. After she died, I packed it away with all her things because I couldn't look at anything that reminded me she'd been real, that I'd had her and lost her. Tears were streaming down Victoria's face. She didn't wipe them away. A man named Daniel Rivers took a job nobody wanted, driving around a broken billionaire during her nightly grief tour. He brought his daughter Maya, who'd lost her mother to cancer and hadn't spoken in 8 months. And Maya asked if she could hold Lily's rabbit. She asked so innocently, so openly. Like it was the most natural thing in the world to want to meet my daughter through her things. And I gave her the rabbit. And for the first time in 2 years I remembered that Lily had been real, that she'd been loved. That love doesn't stop just because the person does. Maya, sitting in the front row with Harrison, was crying. So was Daniel. So was half the audience. I didn't open this foundation to make myself feel better, Victoria continued. Guilt doesn't work that way. I'll carry what happened to Lily until I die. But I opened it because Maya taught me something. She taught me that broken things can still be useful, that grief doesn't have to make you disappear, that the worst thing that ever happened to you can become the reason you make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. Victoria looked directly at the Seattle family. Marcus Thorne tried to kill you for money. He succeeded in killing my daughter. He's in prison now, but that doesn't undo the damage. It doesn't bring Lily back. It doesn't erase your trauma. But maybe this place can help. Maybe families in crisis can come here and find people who understand, who won't tell them to get over it, or move on, or be grateful they survived. Maybe they can just be broken here safely until they figure out how to carry their pieces forward. She set Lily's rabbit on the podium. This foundation is named for my daughter, but it's built on the wisdom of a 9-year-old girl who lost her mother and still believed that broken things could be beautiful. It's funded by money I made being absent, but it's run by people like Mrs. Rodriguez who show up, who stay. who refuse to let families disappear into their grief. Victoria's voice strengthened. I can't fix what I broke. I can't bring back the people we've lost. But I can make sure that when families face their worst days, they have somewhere to go. Someone to call. A building that says, you're not alone, you're not crazy, and you're going to survive this even when you don't want to. That's what this foundation is. It's not redemption, it's responsibility. And I intend to honor it every single day I have left. The applause started slowly, then built. People were standing. Victoria looked startled, like she hadn't expected anyone to actually support what she'd said. Daniel met her eyes from the audience and mouthed, "You did it." After the ceremony, after the photographs and the interviews, and the tours after everyone had finally left and the building was quiet, Victoria found Daniel in the art room. He was adjusting the easels Maya had insisted be placed by the windows. I thought I'd ruined everything, Victoria said. Going off script like that, being so raw. You were honest. People needed to see that. My PR team is having a collective heart attack. Apparently billionaires aren't supposed to publicly admit to being broken. Victoria laughed without humor. They wanted inspiration. I gave them truth. Truth is more valuable. Victoria moved to the window, looking out at Portland spreading below them. Do you ever wonder what Elena would think of all this, of us, this strange family we've built? Every day. But I think she'd approve. She always said the best families were the ones people chose, not the ones they were born into. Lily said something similar. That biology was just DNA, but love was choice. Choosing to show up even when it's hard. Choosing to stay even when leaving would be easier. Victoria turned to face him. Thank you for choosing to stay, Daniel. For taking that ridiculous job posting. For driving me around during my grief tour without judging me. For seeing Marcus's patterns when I was too blind. For showing me that broken people can still build things. You would have figured it out eventually. No, I wouldn't have. I was dying, Daniel. Slowly, but dying. Just fading out of existence because I didn't know how to be alive without Lily. You and Maya reminded me that there were other reasons to stay. That I could be useful even in my brokenness. Daniel's phone buzzed. Text from Maya Harrison made cookies. Come home, home. The word had changed meaning. Home wasn't the apartment they'd almost been evicted from. It wasn't even the guest house, though they still lived there. Home was wherever the four of them were together. Maya's summoning us, Daniel said. Apparently Harrison's cookies are ready. They drove back to the estate together. Victoria's Tesla was silent and expensive, but she'd stopped sitting in the back. These days, she sat in the passenger seat talking to Daniel like a friend instead of an employee. Their relationship had evolved beyond any job description. They were partners now. In the foundation, yes, but also in this daily work of staying alive despite grief. Harrison had indeed made cookies. The kitchen smelled like butter and sugar, and something like normalcy. Maya was already eating one chocolate smeared on her face. These are dangerous, Maya said through a mouthful. You should be arrested for making something this good. Harrison smiled. I'll turn myself in to the cookie police immediately. They sat around the kitchen table, the same table where they'd eaten that first breakfast together after exposing Marcus, the same table where they'd celebrated Maya's birthday and Victoria's first day back at Sentinel AI, and 100 other small victories. It had become their gathering place, this table, the center of their chosen family. I've been thinking, Victoria said, dunking her cookie in milk like Maya had taught her. About next steps. The foundation is open. Sentinel AI is stable. Marcus is in prison. The Seattle family is recovering. We've accomplished what we set out to accomplish. Daniel felt his chest tighten. This sounded like goodbye. Are you firing me again? He asked, trying to keep his voice light. God, no. The opposite, actually. Victoria set down her cookie. I'm asking if you and Maya want to move into the main house, with me. Officially. Not as employees or guests, as family. Maya's eyes went wide. Really? Really? This house has 40 rooms, and I use maybe 5 of them. It's ridiculous. And lonely. And I think... Victoria's voice caught. I think Lily would want it filled with people again. With noise and art supplies and terrible jokes and whatever chaos families create. Daniel looked at Harrison, who was smiling like he'd been waiting for this. You knew, Daniel accused. I suggested it actually, Harrison admitted. This house was dying. Now it's alive again. Let's keep it that way. Maya was already out of her chair hugging Victoria. Yes, yes, yes. Can I have the room with the window seat, the one that looks over the river? That was Lily's room, Victoria said softly. Maya pulled back. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean... No, I want you to have it. Lily would want another little girl to love that window seat the way she did. Victoria touched Maya's hair. You've been carrying her rabbit. You might as well have her room too. Keep her close. Keep her mattering. Daniel felt tears burning his eyes. Victoria, are you sure this is a big step? I'm sure. You two have been saving my life for a year now. Let me save yours back. Let me give Maya stability and space and a family that won't disappear. Let me give you a home that isn't conditional on a job that was always just an excuse anyway. What do you mean? Victoria smiled. Daniel, I never needed a night driver. I needed someone to witness my grief without trying to fix it. I needed someone who understood that survival sometimes looks like slowly dying. I needed you specifically, even though I didn't know it until you showed up. That job posting was up for 6 months because I was waiting for the right person. Someone desperate enough to say yes, but strong enough to handle seeing me at my worst. And then you called and I knew. You couldn't have known. I ran a background check before the interview. I knew about Elena, about Maya's silence, about your collapse. I knew you were drowning, and that drowning people either pull each other under or teach each other to swim. I gambled that we'd swim. Daniel didn't know whether to be angry about the manipulation or grateful for it. He settled on grateful. So this whole time I was investing in us, in this family we'd become, in the possibility that broken people could fix each other by just refusing to let each other disappear. Victoria reached across the table and took his hand. Say yes, Daniel. Move in. Let's make this official. Let's be the family we all need. Daniel looked at Maya, who was vibrating with excitement. He looked at Harrison, who was trying not to cry into his tea. He looked at Victoria, this woman who'd been empty and was learning to be full again. Okay, he said. Yes, we'll move in. Maya shrieked and launched herself at Victoria. Harrison wiped his eyes. And Daniel felt something shift in his chest, not healing exactly, but something close. A settling. An acceptance that this was his life now. That Elena would always be his first love. But Victoria and Harrison and Maya were his present love. His family. They moved in over the next week. Maya's room, Lily's room, got filled with art supplies and books and photos of Elena. Victoria insisted on it. Lily's not erased by you being here, Victoria told Maya. She's honored. You two are sharing space now. That's beautiful. Daniel took a guest room on the same floor, close enough to hear Maya if she had nightmares, far enough to give her space. Harrison moved into the guest house. Someone should use it, and I'd like a bit of independence in my old age. The main house transformed. No longer a mausoleum. Now it was alive with Maya's laughter, and Daniel's architectural plans spread across the dining table, and Victoria's conference calls echoing through the halls. Harrison cooked elaborate meals. They ate together every night, sharing stories and silence, and the comfortable chaos of family. One evening in September, Daniel found Victoria in Lily's old coding room. She'd kept it exactly as it was, computer's whiteboard, covered in Lily's last project notes, half-finished programs. I come here sometimes, Victoria said, to remember who she was becoming. Does it help? Sometimes. Sometimes it destroys me. She touched Lily's keyboard. But mostly, it reminds me that she was real, that she existed, that she mattered beyond just being my daughter who died. She changed the world, Victoria. Her safety protocols are now industry standard. The foundation bearing her name has helped 60 families in 3 months. She's still here, still protecting people. Just differently. Victoria smiled through tears. Maya said something similar. She said dead people don't disappear, they just change jobs. They go from being here to being remembered. And as long as we remember them right, by living in ways that honor what they believed, they're still doing their work. That kid is terrifyingly wise. She learned it from her mother, and she's teaching it to me. Victoria logged into Lily's computer. She'd kept the passwords. Look at this. Lily's last project. She was designing an AI system to detect hacking attempts in real time. She called it Guardian. I couldn't look at it after she died. Too painful. But last week I opened it and you know what I found? What? It works. Her design actually works. It's brilliant. Better than anything my current team could create. Victoria's voice was thick with emotion. My 10-year-old daughter designed a system that could have prevented her own death and dozens of others. But we never implemented it because I was too busy with investor meetings to review her work. You can implement it now. I am. It goes live next month across all Sentinel AI products. We're also open sourcing it, letting other companies use it for free. Because Lily would want it shared, not hoarded. Victoria closed the laptop. I'm calling it Lily's Law, the Guardian Protocol. Her name will be attached to every vehicle it protects. She'll save thousands of lives she'll never meet. Daniel thought about Elena's classroom, now named in her honor, at Maya's old school. About how the dead lived on through the work they inspired in the living. They'd be proud of us, he said, Elena and Lily, for not letting grief win. Grief doesn't win or lose. It just is. But we get to choose what we do with it. Victoria stood. And I choose this. This family, this foundation, this work. I choose to honor Lily by being the mother she deserved, present, engaged, protective of others the way I failed to protect her. They walked downstairs together. Maya was in the living room teaching Harrison how to use Instagram, a painful process involving much laughter and Harrison's confusion about hashtags. No, you don't type the word hashtag, you just use the symbol Harrison. You're 68, not ancient. I'm 70, and these social medias are witchcraft. Daniel and Victoria watched them, this unlikely pair bonded by their love for two broken people trying to rebuild. We did it, Victoria said quietly. We actually built something good from something terrible. We did. All of us. The doorbell rang. Victoria went to answer it. Daniel heard voices. Then Victoria calling, Daniel, come here. It was Daniel's old boss from the architecture firm, and behind him 3 city council members. Mr. Rivers, the lead councilwoman said, we've been reviewing your work on the foundation building and the Portland development. Your community-focused designs are exactly what this city needs. We'd like to commission you for a major project, 20-building affordable housing complex with integrated community centers, medical facilities, and support services. Basically, you'd be designing neighborhoods that actually care for residents. Are you interested? Daniel looked at Victoria, who was grinning. We already talked to her, his old boss said. She's agreed to fund the support services side. But we need your designs. We need someone who understands that architecture isn't just about buildings, it's about creating spaces for human flourishing. Maya appeared beside Daniel, squeezing his hand. Say yes, Daddy. This is what Mom wanted. You helping people through buildings. Daniel thought about the years since he'd taken the job nobody wanted. How he'd been drowning, and Victoria had been drowning, and they'd somehow taught each other to swim. How Maya had found her voice again. How Harrison had gotten his family back. How 4 broken people had become something whole through sheer stubborn refusal to give up on each other. Yes, he said. I'm interested. Over the following months, their lives found a rhythm that felt almost normal. Victoria ran Sentinel AI with renewed purpose, implementing Lily's Guardian protocol and watching traffic fatalities from autonomous vehicles drop to zero. The foundation expanded, helping more families every week. Daniel designed his affordable housing complex with Maya's input. She insisted on art studios in every building. They celebrated holidays together. Thanksgiving around Harrison's elaborately set table. Christmas with a tree that Maya decorated with ornaments she'd painted, including ones for Lily and Elena. So they're included. New Year's Eve watching fireworks over the Columbia River, making promises to keep growing, keep healing, keep honoring the dead by living well. On the anniversary of Lily's death, they went to the cemetery together. Not in grief this time, but in gratitude. Gratitude for having had her, for having loved her, for having been changed by her. "I'm not sad today," Victoria said, surprising herself. "I mean, I'm sad. I'll always be sad that she's gone, but I'm also grateful. Grateful that she existed. Grateful that she loved me despite my failures. Grateful that her death led me to this family." Maya placed flowers on the grave. "I told her about the foundation, about all the kids we've helped. I think she's happy about it." "She is," Victoria said with certainty. "Wherever she is, she's proud. Because we took something terrible and made it mean something." They visited Elena's grave next. Daniel hadn't been in months, not out of avoidance, but because he'd stopped needing to stand at her gravestone to feel close to her. She was with him always. In Maya's laugh, in his designs, in the way he'd learned to love again differently. "Hey, babe," Daniel said to the stone. "Sorry it's been a while. Life got good and I got busy living it. I think you'd approve. Maya's thriving. I'm designing again. We found a family. Not the one we planned, but the one we needed. I hope you don't mind sharing us with Victoria and Harrison. I hope you and Lily are friends wherever you are. I hope you know we're okay. Not healed, but okay. And that's enough." Maya wrote a note and left it on the grave weighted down by a rock. Daniel didn't read it. Some conversations were private. As they drove home, Maya said, "Do you think we'll ever stop missing them?" "No," Victoria answered honestly. "But the missing changes. It stops being the only thing you feel and becomes one thing among many things. You can miss someone and still be happy. That's the gift they give us by letting us go permission to keep living." That night they had dinner together like always. Harrison made his famous pot roast. Maya talked about her day. Victoria shared news about Sentinel AI's latest contracts. Daniel showed them updated designs for the housing complex. Normal, domestic, imperfect, theirs. After dinner, Victoria called them all to the living room. She looked nervous. "I've been thinking," she started, "about making something official, legal. This family we've built, I want it recognized. Harrison, you've been more than an employee. You've been a father to me. Daniel, you've been—" She paused. "My partner in every way that matters. And Maya, you've been the light that showed me the way back to life." "What are you saying?" Daniel asked. "I'm saying I want to make you all heirs. Equal partners in everything I have, the foundation, my estate, whatever's left of my empire when I die. I want it documented legally that we're family, that what we've built together matters." Harrison was crying openly. "Ma'am, I don't need your money." "I know, but I need you to have it. I need to know that when I'm gone you'll continue this work. You'll keep the foundation running. You'll keep honoring Lily and Elena by helping others." Victoria looked at Daniel. "Unless you think it's too much—" "It's not about the money," Daniel said carefully. "It's about what it represents. You're saying we're permanent, that this isn't temporary housing until we figure ourselves out. You're saying we're yours and you're ours." "Yes. Exactly, yes." Maya walked over and hugged Victoria. "You were already family. But okay, let's make it official. Let's be the family that grief built, but love keeps together." They signed papers a week later. Lawyers made it legal what their hearts had already decided. They were family. Chosen, built, repaired. Not despite their brokenness, but because of it. 2 years after Daniel had taken the job. Nobody wanted, they stood together at the opening of his affordable housing complex. 200 families moving into homes designed with care and dignity. Victoria's foundation had offices on site. Maya's art studios. Community spaces for healing. "We did this," Victoria said, looking at the bustling buildings. "From nothing. From grief and loss and brokenness. We built this." "We built more than this," Daniel said. "We built us." The job nobody wanted had become the decision that saved 4 lives. Not because it paid well, though it did. Not because it was easy, because it wasn't. But because sometimes the things we run from are exactly what we need to run toward. Sometimes the people who terrify us are the ones who teach us how to be brave. Sometimes families aren't born, but built piece by broken piece, until the cracks are filled with something that looks a lot like gold. Daniel looked at Victoria, at Harrison, at Maya, and thought about that night 2 years ago when he'd called about a job posting that had been up for 6 months. When he'd been desperate and drowning and willing to take anything. When he'd walked into a house filled with grief and somehow found home. "Thank you," he said to Victoria, "for posting that job, for letting me in, for saving my life while I was supposedly saving yours." Victoria smiled. "We saved each other. That's what family does." They stood together, watching their complex come alive with families beginning again, with children laughing with people who'd been broken, finding spaces designed to hold them gently while they healed. Above them, the Portland sky was clear and endless. And somewhere, in whatever comes after 2, mothers were watching their children, all 4 of them, living the lives they'd been taught to live. Lives that honored loss by choosing love anyway. The job nobody wanted hadn't just changed Daniel's life. It had given him a reason to want life again. And that, in the end, was everything.